The ceremonial blade cut through Captain Zia Rahman's insignia with surgical precision, each thread falling to the polished floor of the Grand Assembly like dying stars. Fleet Admiral Morrison's voice echoed through the chamber, cold and final. For insubordination, reckless endangerment of Allied forces, and violation of the Terran-Zephyrian peace accord, Captain Zia Rahman is hereby stripped of rank and dishonorably discharged from the Terran Defense Fleet. Zia stood motionless as her medals were torn from her chest, her face a mask of controlled fury. Behind her, Lieutenant Elsa Novak watched in horror from the observer's gallery, her knuckles white as she gripped the railing. The woman who had saved her life countless times, who had turned impossible battles into legendary victories, was being humiliated before the entire fleet command. The crime? Zia had refused a direct order to abandon a civilian transport under Kethvar attack. She had saved 800 lives, but in doing so, she had crossed into neutral space. A violation that gave the bureaucrats the excuse they'd been seeking to remove the most decorated human officer in fleet history. "You may go," Admiral Morrison said, not bothering to look at her former captain. Zia picked up her torn insignia, tucked them into her pocket, and walked out without a word. 3 months later, Elsa was commanding a reconnaissance mission near the Outer Rim when her sensors detected something impossible. A single ship, human-designed but modified with technology she'd never seen, engaging an entire Kethvar battle group. The ship moved like liquid mercury, its weapons cutting through enemy shields as if they were paper. "Commander?" her communications officer called out, voice tight with disbelief. "We're being hailed by the unknown vessel. On screen." The face that appeared made Elsa's breath catch. Zia Rahman sat in a captain's chair, but everything else had changed. Her uniform was midnight black with silver threading that seemed to pulse with its own light. Across her chest, medals glinted. Not human medals, but the ornate crystalline decorations of the Veltar Empire, humanity's most enigmatic ally. "Hello, Elsa," Zia said, her voice carrying a weight it hadn't possessed before. "I trust you're here on reconnaissance?" "Zia, what happened to you? Where have you been?" A ghost of a smile crossed Zia's face. Behind her, Elsa could see figures moving, tall, graceful beings with the characteristic silver skin of the Veltar. Learning, growing, discovering what happens when you're not bound by the limitations of small minds. "The Veltar took you in?" The Veltar recognized what the Terran fleet couldn't, that sometimes honor means breaking rules. "They offered me something Admiral Morrison never could, the chance to actually protect people instead of protecting politics." As they spoke, the last of the Kethvar ships exploded in brilliant flashes. Zia's vessel hadn't taken a single hit. "The technology," Elsa breathed. "Quantum phase shifting, consciousness-linked targeting systems, adaptive hull architecture." Zia's smile widened. "The Veltar have been fighting wars for millennia, while we were still discovering fire. They've taught me things the Academy never dreamed of." Elsa noticed the medals again, 5 crystalline badges that seemed to contain swirling galaxies. "What do those represent?" "The first is for tactical innovation. I developed new combat doctrines that helped end the Sector 7 uprising. The second for diplomatic courage. I negotiated the release of 300 Terran prisoners without firing a shot. The third for strategic brilliance. I identified and eliminated a spy network that was feeding intelligence to the hegemony." She paused, touching the 4th medal. This one is for sacrifice. I gave up everything I was to become something more." "And the 5th? Leadership beyond boundaries. I now command the Veltar 7th Deep Strike Fleet. 40 ships, 12 species, all united under a simple principle: protect the innocent, regardless of politics." Elsa felt tears she didn't know she was holding back. "They were fools to let you go." "No, Elsa. They were exactly what I expected them to be. Small, fearful, bound by regulations written by people who've never seen real war." Zia leaned forward. "But here's what they didn't understand. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our tactics. It's our refusal to accept limitations. The fleet, they need you. The Kethvar are massing for another assault." "I know. Why do you think I'm here?" Before Elsa could respond, her tactical officer called out urgently. "Commander, massive fleet emergence detected. Kethvar hegemony forces, over 200 ships." Through the view screen, Space erupted with the malevolent red glow of Kethvar battle cruisers materializing from hyperspace. They came in waves, a tide of destruction aimed at the colony worlds beyond. "Elsa," Zia's voice cut through the chaos, calm and certain. "Take your ship and get clear. Send word to Admiral Morrison. Tell him that Captain Zia Rahman sends her regards. You can't fight them alone." "I'm not alone." As if summoned by her words, space shimmered. Feltar ships materialized like silver phantoms, their hulls gleaming with the same strange light as Zia's metals. 40 vessels against 200, impossible odds by any conventional measure. But Zia Rahman had learned to think beyond conventional measures. "All ships," her voice came through on open channels, reaching every vessel in the engagement zone. "This is Fleet Commander Rahman of the Veltar 7th. Any Kethvar vessel that fires upon civilians will be considered an enemy of all sentient life." The battle that followed would be studied in military academies for generations. Zia's force moved like a single organism, each ship anticipating the other's actions with supernatural precision. Human audacity married to Veltar technology created something entirely new. A fighting force that didn't just win battles but redefined what victory meant. When the last Kethvar ship fled or burned, Zia's face appeared once more on Elsa's screen. Behind her, the metals caught the light like captured stars. "Tell Admiral Morrison something for me," she said. "Tell him that the woman he stripped of rank now carries the authority of 5 civilizations. Tell him that the medals he tore from my chest have been replaced by honors that actually mean something." Her voice softened slightly. "And tell him that when humanity finally grows up, we'll be waiting." The transmission ended, and Zia's ship vanished into hyperspace, leaving only empty void and the echo of impossible victory. Elsa stared at the space where her former captain had been, understanding finally that some people aren't meant to be contained by the small minds of small institutions. They had stripped her rank in public. She had returned wearing the enemy's medals and discovered that sometimes the enemy's medals were worth more than all the honors her own people could bestow. The galaxy was vast, and Zia Rahman had found her place in it.